Hi, I'm Fiona, and we're going to talk a bit about shoulders today and how to help in your practice to heal shoulder injuries, period. It's easier to address the person individually. So if you have shoulder issues, you can always email us and we can try to work on some of these techniques that would be more specific to you. One action we do quite a bit in Ashtanga yoga is ekam, the very first position of the sun salute. So it's important to consider how we practice ekam since it's repeated quite a bit. So I'm going to turn around and you can watch from behind a couple different ways that I could approach ekam, which ekam means one. It's the first position of our sun salutation. So as I turn around, hopefully you can see, there's different ways to take my hands up. One would be ekam inhale. I wrap my arms around more into the front. This is also useful in a tight yoga room or a tight space if you're practicing in a small space like I am here today, so that you don't whack the wall. So you bring your arms out towards the front and then up. And then the head is moving the entire time as your palms come to touch. Notice how there's lots of space here between my ears and my shoulders. And then I exhale. Again, ekam inhale. Notice the space in the shoulders, exhale. Versus, and I actually can't even do it in my space because it's kind of narrow, this way. And then you can you see the difference in the shoulder blades? There's no space between my shoulders and the ears. There's a lot of tension here. And we really want to avoid that tension because as we practice, we're repeating ekam quite a bit in the beginning. We want to keep the spaciousness here. When we're standing in samasthiti, I like to think that what we're creating here, we're creating the essence of that in every yoga posture. So one simple thing is when you're practicing, pay attention. When you're doing your Padangusthasana, for example, do you have no space? Is there a lot of tension? When you're doing all of your forward bend postures and seated, is there a lot of tension in your head and neck? That's one starting point that's really important. So if you're just sitting, any position you like right now, we can do a few together. Ekam inhale, bring the arms forward and up. And just start to notice, if you keep bringing your hands vertical, you may feel this starting to happen. And this is where we're in this kind of position. And if that would be like walking around with your shoulders by your ears all day. So pay attention to your ekam. Notice the place as you come up where you start to feel that little bit of tension. For me, I start to feel just about here. I can also show you from the side. This is where, if I go a little bit further, I'm exaggerating now, this is what wants to happen, versus keeping it plugged in and drawn in, using the whole support system coming even from the serratus. So be aware, if I go out to the side, I can have that same tightness in the shoulder as well. So be aware when you're lifting up, bring your arms out and up, and just relax and feel the place where you're right on the edge of the tension. That's where you want to linger. Don't push past it to the place where you can feel the shoulder losing its connection in. And if you take your arm right now, take one hand just underneath, and you can feel how the muscle engages as you gather in. Sometimes I talk about the very first Karate Kid movie, when Mr. Miyagi was his name, told Daniel-san to wax on, wax off. It's this idea of gathering the armpits in and really feeling that connection. That's the action we're wanting. So if right now you take your hands up like mine are, imagine there's a huge balloon here. It's pretty thick. Gather and resist and try to pop that balloon. So press down and then gather in. Press down and gather in. It almost feels like your hands are doing this. If you take your hands then and were to put them on the floor in a downward dog or in a push-up, it's the same action. Let's take that to a wall now. So as we stand by a wall, we're going to inhale, ekam inhale, bring our hands up, look thumbs. Again, openness here. Joy exhale, bring your hands to the wall, shoulders width apart. And then from there, press down with the hands, wax on, wax off, and just feel that connection as you bend and straighten. It's all coming from a firing, and you can feel the muscle even firing here if you hold on to the muscle. As you bend that arm and gather it in, you should feel some firing. So once more, Ekam inhale, Doi exhale, pretend we're doing a sun salute, head in. Trini inhale, head up. Chaturanga exhales the push up. So lower down with your head neutral. And just feel the strength as you press down and out through the hands. And then Pancha inhale, upward dog. And Shot exhale, down dog. Keep pressing in and out. From there, Sapta inhale, jump, head is up. Ashto exhale, head is in. And then Nawa inhale, push into the wall, then bring your hands up. And Samastiti. So basically, I just did a Surya Namaskar A, using the wall, all 7 parts of it. So let's try it once more. Remember, the idea is you're plugging in the shoulder, you're working through the whole shoulder girdle is connected. You're not fragmenting. And if you're not sure, do a 1-arm push-up and feel how the muscle, as you wax on, wax off, or press down and out, is engaged and working. So let's go again. Ekam inhale, look thumbs. Dway exhale, head in. Trini inhale, head up. Chaturanga is the push-up. Exhale, neutral head, lower down. And again, if you're fighting a shoulder injury, maybe your lowering down is only to here. If you're more comfortable, you might be able to keep the connection and go further. Pancha inhale, slowly straighten, look up. Notice my arms aren't hyperextended. Did you see what happened to my shoulders? Instead, they're plugged in. My arms are straight, but not locked. That would be locked. And then from there, Shot, exhale, down dog, look in. Sapta inhale, walk, hop, jog, feet to the hands, head up. Ashto exhale, head in. And then push into the hands, Nawa inhale, push, come up. Remember the shoulders are relaxed here. It's just like Ekam. And exhale, Samastiti. So you can repeat that action over and over. And for even more shoulder therapy, you could probably just isolate your push-up. So hands, shoulders width apart, finding this connection to the earth. And then you can just exhale, bend, inhale, straighten. Starting out, you may want to do a one-handed one and see if you can feel that the muscles are engaging where your hand is holding, right underneath the armpit. Exhaling, inhale. The whole base is strong. There's no jutting out of bones. You can feel connected. And then you can try the other side. Exhale, press down and out. The elbow is naturally moving neutral, not out. It's not elbowing or chicken winging out like this. It's neutral. And once you've done that a few times and can feel that connection, you could easily just build up that connection through doing some wall push-ups. If you want to create a bit more bandha, have your feet together and really focus on connecting the hands to your core, i.e. Mula Bandha. Good. That's one thing you can play with the shoulders. Another thing that you can play with, I'm just gonna change the screen because I'm in a small room so you can see me, is to do some exercises like this on the floor. So I'm going to lay down. And from here, I'm just gonna have my knees knocked together and I'm gonna take my hands straight up. I'm gonna move a bit so I'm here. Okay. Take your hands straight into the air and you can look straight up. I'm gonna look at you. From there, take your shoulders out, lift the arms up, and then plug your shoulders in. That's kind of the action of Ekam. You could even do an Ekam here, bringing your arms wide and out. And feel how there's lots of space between the ears and the shoulders. Versus if I take my hands straight up and bring my shoulders to my ears, we get a bit of compression. So one more Ekam like that. Then flip your wrists, press down. And just doing this exercise of pressing in can be really useful before you do, say, for example, a back bend. Feel that connection. And one thing I like to do for shoulder therapy is bend your elbows, take your left hand, press straight down. And then notice my right hand is behind my left elbow. Left hand presses straight down, right hand behind my left elbow. And just press down, and then have a tug of war. You're trying to pull your elbows out, but the left hand pressing down is preventing you. And you're just going to breathe for a few breaths. Make sure that left hand keeps pressing down. That would be for the right side. Now for the left side, take your right hand on top of the left elbow, reach your left hand behind the right elbow. Right hand presses down, that's really important. That creates that connection so you can really access through the back. And then from there, have a tug of war trying to pull out, but right hand is pressing down. Feel that same connection into the serratus, the wrapping around feeling that it's not just the joint that's working, but you've got the whole support of the upper body. And just breathe there. Keep pressing down with that right hand. And then bring your hands back up. This is something that you could probably do about 5 breaths each side. See how it feels. It's always important to gauge how a movement feels in your body, depending on your shoulder. If it's painful, obviously don't do it. If you feel as if you're weak, start slowly, maybe just a few breaths, and then you can go from there. With shoulders, it's really important as we do our vinyasa that we stay connected and use all of the muscles to support rather than just going into joints. One other little pitfall I want to mention is that transition from upward dog to downward dog. I mentioned it a bit when we were using the wall, but you do want to be careful that you're not hyperextending. So for example, if I'm in my push-up, you can see me here. As I lower down, I exhale. As I inhale, there's a tendency sometimes to do this. Can you see how my shoulders have jutted forward? And then as I exhale, I'm already in hyperextension for my transition. So instead, I'm going to exhale, lower down, wax on, wax off. Inhale, slowly straighten. And this is quite a bit different than this. So once more, exhale, lower down. Inhale, slowly straighten. Find that opening in the upper back. And then exhale, keep the arms micro bent as you press back. It's important that you don't slam into the joints. Can you see what happens to my shoulders? They jut forward. So move slowly through your vinyasa. Inhaling up dog, exhaling down dog. Trying not to go into the joints. I hope this helps. Give it a try, and if you have questions, feel free to email. Thanks.